everybody, this is Shane Wildcat Parsons coming at you with the NXT side of the Wednesday Night Wars for the Pro Wrestling Power Podcast. And NXT was a pretty good show this week. A lot happened. A lot of good promo packages, so go back, watch those. One with talking about Io Shirai, Charlotte, Rhea Ripley, that match we're going to get at the In Your House pay-per-view coming up this weekend. So it's also a go-home show before a pay-per-view. And there's a lot to talk about, so let's just dive right in like the show did. It opened with Mia Yim versus Candice LeRae. And you know, they've been teasing this whole mixed tag match between newly found heel that we love to hate, Candice LeRae and Johnny Gargano. It was a decent opening match. It had sloppy moments, but it led to a double count-out finish, and the bottom card, like the women in the bottom of the card, they just had a big brawl. And of course, Keith Lee, Johnny Gargano come down and help break it up because their women folk are involved. And Regal's like, what's going on? Everybody, you ruined my opening match. So you know what? We're just going to do this the way we used to do on old school SmackDown with Teddy Long. We're just going to have a tag match. A mixed tag match, obviously, with Keith Lee and Mia Yim versus Candice LeRae and Johnny Gargano. We thought we were going to get this later down the road. We thought it might be a setup to get some new blood in the United States, or the North American Championship, my bad. That belt that Keith Lee has, and it's only defended against the same two people. But I thought it was going to happen later. But let's do this now. Let's go. I'm excited about this match. Let's see what they do with it. And it really was a solid match. There were a bunch of good spots. It started out with Johnny Gargano complaining that he wasn't even dressed to wrestle and skinny jeans and all. He was out there and they were fighting. It was a really good match though. These four work well together. You can't point at one person and be like, this was a weak spot. And they even found a creative way to do a roll-up finish. Gargano, obviously in his street clothes, had his car keys with him, and he poked Keith Lee in the eye with his car keys. Of course, Mia Yim's concerned, so she's checking on Keith Lee to make sure he's, not blinded, and there's a roll-up, Candice LeRae, Mia Yim with a distracted roll-up. They've used this finish probably the roll-up 75, 80 times this year. It's the Kamehameha finishers, nothing stronger. But at least they found a creative way to do it this time, and that gets me excited. Because we're going to see this again, and it's definitely a good enough match. They have good enough chemistry that we can do this again. There's a couple of promos here. I'm not really going to dig into them too much. Dexter Lumis had something he was drawing on a board, and who knows what it was. Then got oh lord, it was Velveteen Dream and Adam Cole looking for and they actually made me care about the championship match. It's already happened, but their promo package was so good, I actually care about the match now. WWE with these they are so good at doing the video packages. We get another of the cruiserweight, like I guess it's like the runner-up match or something, or the third place match or whatever. Tony Nese and Swerve Scott, and oh my goodness, was this a really good match. You should this might have been the best match on the entire card all night. It could have been on a normal night. Let's just leave it that. The weight of the tournament made it that much more impressive, because usually you're not going to look at these two guys, Tony Nese, Swerve Scott. I mean, this isn't even a headlining match on like the Superstation on Saturday night. These aren't two names they would probably open the show that good match to get the energy up and get it going type of thing, not a main event. But it was really good. It's the finish with Jack Gallagher coming out and trying to distract so Tony Nese winning, and Swerve Scott end up winning somehow because of it. It worked. I mean, distraction finishes are too much of a thing in wrestling right now. I would have liked to have seen just Swerve Scott. I guess it's a way of protecting both people, but I think Swerve Scott can take the win here and look like a really strong contender for the eventual Cruiserweight Champion, which we'll get to, which was a ridiculously good match, but it's a little controversial. But we still have other things. Like, did you ever think I'd say these words and we'd be excited about it? Breezango is back. That's right. Tyler Breeze, Fandango. They're goofy, they're silly, but we all love them because they're actually really, really talented and underrated in the ring. They're facing the Undisputed Era, who were champs for like 75 years and only fought 2 matches to defend it. Yeah, you're Googling who they fought in those matches too right now because you don't even remember. It was that bad. And against Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch for the #1 contender spot for the tag belts. And I mean, the Breezango entry is worth the price of admission. YouTube it, watch it. It was good. I marked out a little bit. They're like one of my guilty pleasures in pro wrestling. They're just that fun to watch. And congrats to WWE and NXT for remembering they had a tag division. And with Breezango in there, it's loaded now. Like, seriously, look through the card and see what all they have. And they did a little bit of that teasing with some of the people that came out after the match was over with. But this match delivered. Everything you expect out of these 6 men who are really good performers in the ring. Had spots you thought, you know, it weaved a good storyline. And our new #1 contenders for the tag team championships. Breezango. Something I never thought I'd say in 2020, but that's a long list of things I never thought I'd say in 2020. I bet you guys are about the same boat there. Then we got some stuff with the Robert Stone brand. It was the high point of the show last week. It was the low point of the show this week. We got Santana Garrett versus Aaliyah. And thank goodness this match was over quickly. Robert Stone came out to support Aaliyah, who lost, and that was really the biggest part of the match, was the continuing storyline with him out there. And this, after that, is where we get the promo inserted in the show for Ripley, Charlotte, and Io Shirai. And it was really, really good. Charlotte's good when she's not trying to sell herself as Dusty Rhodes, which she does way too often. She's like, I had to work my butt off to get here. You know, she said she was a product of NXT, and it was believable for her this time. Ripley was fantastic. At one point, somebody compared Io Shirai to AJ Styles, which, sure, I can see a little bit of it. The athleticism and in-ring ability, why not? We'll go with it. She's the female AJ Styles. I don't know. We'll see. Potential's there. I mean, she is very talented. And then, but watch it for yourself. It was a really good promo. I mean, WWE does those well. We got Cameron Grimes versus Bronson Reed. And Grimes was like the underdog in trouble the entire match. He would get momentum and get shut down. But he ended up winning. It was basically filler, really, for the Karrion Kross promo. He comes out and Cameron Grimes like avoids him on his way to the back. He brutalizes Bronson Reed and he just tells Tommaso Ciampa, I'm going to mess you up in your house with the pay-per-view this weekend. And I kind of think he will. And in NXT, that is a huge win because Ciampa's one of the cornerstones of the company. It's that level of thing. And I'm really looking forward to watching that pay-per-view. A lot of good matches. If Charlotte wins, we riot. No, we don't. Maybe. Then we get the end of the show, the last match. You know, all the stuff that came out a few months ago with Drake Maverick being one of the ones getting fired. And I've been wondering, is it storyline? Is it real? Are they trying to build sympathy for him by adding him into the list of all the Americans that have lost their jobs? I hate that the cynic in me was right and it was storyline. It was a fantastic match between Drake Maverick and El Hijo del Fantasma. Like, these two guys worked really, really ridiculously well in the ring. It was hard hitting. There was moments of fast pace. It was just everything it ticked every box for what a good match looks like. Like, seriously, this match would have sold itself without the, well, Drake loses, he's probably not with the company anymore storyline. You know, it didn't need that extra emotional weight added to it because their performance was that good. El Hijo wins, and Drake starts crying in the ring, and all the NXT trainee talent, you know, beats the glass like hockey style, giving him a standing ovation. And he cries his way up the ramp, and he stands there. Triple H comes out, puts his arms on his shoulders, and he says, "You earned this." You know, and this is while El Hijo is standing in the ring with the belt. That was part of the story, the way it played out and everything. El Hijo with his championship. And Drake Maverick is given an NXT contract. I said it before. Wrestling's supposed to be a distraction from everything going on in the real world. Like, we can't be 100% focused on reality all the time. And we need these, and I use these moments to remind me, hey, life's fun, life's silly. You know, people that don't wear pants are fighting over a belt. I mean, this is part of the silly of it, part of the fun of it. But, you know, I just didn't like this entire storyline. I think the tournament in itself would have been enough to sell it. You didn't need this extra little, and if it worked to get people behind Drake Maverick, okay, fine, good for him. But his performances in these matches are really what got my attention. Like, I'm a fan of his because how good he was in the ring, not some random storyline that they decided to put together to make him sympathetic. That wasn't needed. It wasn't necessary. I think, they just went a little too far trying to create a moment rather than let a moment happen naturally. And that happens a little bit too often in WWE. Anyway, I want to thank you guys for listening. Please leave a comment. Did you like the finish or not? Do you think it was as tone deaf as I do? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on this. And please subscribe. But anyway, thank you guys for hanging out with us. God bless.
You're stuck in your house. You're bored in your house. So let NXT take over your house.
Charlotte Flair wants to get in the ring with the best of the best.
The tension is palpable. My heart is racing. My goosebumps have goosebumps.
I cannot wait for a takeover in your house.
NXT is in the house.
It is time once again, folks, for the Wednesday Night War. I'm your host, Retro Joe. and you just heard from Wildcat on NXT. And I have to say, Wednesdays are heating up because this was an excellent episode of Dynamite. Very, very, very good. Very good. Very good. Reiterating, very good episode of AEW Dynamite. And I'm going to tell you why right now. Match number 1, we have the Tag Team Championship. That's right, we had Kenny Omega and Adam Page taking on Jimmy Havoc and Kip Sabian, Mr. Superbad himself, for that Tag Team Gold. This was a great, great opening match. We saw excellence from Kenny Omega, Adam Page, Jimmy Havoc, and Kip Sabian, just playing as dirty as you could imagine. They were pulling all the tricks out of the book trying to win this Tag Team Gold. But in the end, although it was a very good effort by our challengers, they didn't have enough to take the victory because Kenny Omega and Adam Page will eventually take the gold, defend their belts in this opening match. It was great. The whole time we had FTR looking on the background. We'll hear from those guys later. They have an interview with Tony Schiavone where they get into an altercation with Butcher and Blade. But that's more on later. So we'll find out about that next week on Dynamite because FTR will debut and take on Butcher and Blade next week. That's right, we'll finally get to see their theme song. After this, we have a very short promo, a very auspicious promo. If you don't know what it's about, you'll be confused. So I'm going to explain it to you. Shawn Spears is getting a tongue lashing from Mr. Tully Blanchard about his recent losses in AEW. And he says, things have to change, sir. Things have to change. And I'm here to tell you that Tully Blanchard handed him a very mysterious box in which he opened it and took out a black glove. If y'all don't know what this is, the black glove in wrestling is something that when characters turn like super dark heel, that's when they get that. You notice Kane used to do it. He would wear the one black glove on his hand. You had I'm trying to think, there's a lot of people that used to do it. It was one of those things from the Four Horsemen that they used to do when they would turn super dark. And I don't know, there's a couple other guys, very, very old school that you probably won't even never heard of. But look it up, a black glove. It's a very important item in wrestling history. Moving on, we have the second match of the night. Brian Cage, the Mega Monster, that's managed by Taz, that's right, versus Shawn Dean. Now, if you don't know Shawn Dean, he is called the Captain. He's also a previous Air Force, but he is a jobber, so we know at the beginning of this match, as soon as it starts, he's going to get squashed in like 10 seconds, which he does. It was a short super squash. Brian Cage takes the win via the drill claw. Nothing much to say there. Brian Cage is a Mega Monster. He's taking on Jon Moxley at the pay-per-view. Well, it's not really pay-per-view now. It's kind of split. They split it between 2 nights. Fyter Fest is going to go July 1st and July 8th. It's like a pay-per-view split. Instead of Dynamite, we'll get Fyter Fest those 2 nights. And Jon Moxley is taking on Brian Cage in that for the belt. Match number 3, Chris Jericho versus Colt Cabana. Boom, boom, boom. Colt Cabana. Yeah, I like Colt Cabana actually. This was a really, really good match as well. You know, as always, both these guys are impressive in the ring. Colt Cabana is a good in-ring worker, and obviously Jericho is too. The only thing I had to say about this match, even though it was very good, Jericho seemed to be telegraphing a bit. I don't know if he doesn't trust Colt enough, but you could tell there was a bit of telegraphing going on there. I wish he hadn't done that. But other than that, it was a good match. Pretty good from both. So Chris Jericho will take the win on this one via the Judas Effect. Afterwards, we have a spot with Chris again calling out Mike Tyson, but Mike Tyson does not come out from the back. So we have Orange Cassidy come out and do a little slick little dodge moves, and that makes Chris Jericho very angry. And next week we have a Orange Cassidy match versus some of the people in the inner circle. Moving on. Last note of the night. This night wasn't super long. And they have 2 more matches, but it was a good show. It was very smooth. It flowed very well. It felt easy to watch, if that makes sense. Sometimes these feel like they go on and on, but this one felt very smooth, very fluid, and it went on because there wasn't really anything bad about this whole night. And this next one will surprise you because of my stance on certain things. Match number 4, Big Swole versus Nyla Rose. Now I know what you're thinking. Retro Joe is going to tear this one apart. He don't like the women's division. He thinks they suck. That is true on most parts because I appreciate when in-ring work looks good and matches look good. And they haven't been doing that. Now, saying that, this was a decent match. What? That's right. That's right. Big Swole actually looked impressive in this. Nyla wasn't too horrible. It was actually easy to watch. It wasn't horrible. I didn't feel like it was super sloppy. It was just an average, good match. I know, it's very weird. Very weird to say for me, but if they do matches like this more often, it will definitely improve their women's division. Also, I have to note that Big Swole, wife of Cedric Alexander, yep, if y'all remember I said that before, he is a WWE star. She was wearing a yellow Power Ranger outfit. Why? I don't know. Maybe that's her new outfit, but it was definitely a yellow Power Ranger outfit. Match 5, the final moment of the whole night. We have the TNT Championship, Cody's first defense of the new sparkly belt. Cody versus Jungle Boy. Oh my goodness, this was classic. Classic Cody. I guess classic Jungle Boy, even though he ain't been around that often. He's only 22 years old, so. But man, he is good in the ring. I have to say, this was an excellent match. Just excellent. There was a spot where Cody got busted open. That's right. AEW is not afraid to show blood. WWE is super against it. But AEW, they know it's a part of the business, and they don't care. And I'm glad that they do that. He got busted open. There was even a spot where the blood's when he did a, what was it? There was a moment where Cody did a flip off the ring apron after the blood spot, and the blood splurted on the camera. That's right, the camera lens had drops of blood all over it. That was crazy. Both these guys just gave it their all in this. I mean, it was just incredible. Jungle Boy looked amazing in this match. Anyways, Cody will take the win. He has defended his first belt. Afterwards, he congratulates Jungle Boy on a good match because that's just how he is. He's a babyface and he appreciates the work. So he gives Jungle Boy props for this. Everybody's in the ring, Jurassic Express, all this. And that ends the night on a very, very good note. Nothing crazy happened at the end. We have that FTR interview sometime during the night. I can't remember what spot it was at, but like I said, they're going to take it on Butcher the Blade next week. Hopefully they have a good theme song and it's not butchered. Hopefully it's similar to what they used to have in WWE. I'm excited for that. Anyways, I hope y'all enjoyed this. I'm here for you. We're bringing the wrestling news like we always do. And remember to keep it retro.